The streets around Washington, D.C.'s Capitol Jewish Museum are cordoned off crime scene after 2 Israeli embassy workers were shot dead at point-blank range. An annual event for young diplomats targeted by a lone gunman.
At first, I think we all, and many of us do, our brains go into defense mechanisms. So we were like, okay, D.C. can be violent, it's gang violence, which is bad that we brushed it off. But there was a genuine feeling of, there wasn't a feeling of alarm. We weren't being alarmist. Or hypervigilant. I think most of us were just ready to get home, and it had been a long event.
The Israeli embassy later named the victims Sarah Milgrim and Yaron Lischinsky. They were a couple. She organised trips to Israel. He was a research assistant in the embassy's political department. They were killed in the heart of Washington, D.C., just over a mile from the White House. Our U.S. correspondent Siobhan Kennedy was at the scene shortly afterwards.
Police said the gunman had been seen pacing back and forth outside the building, then approached a group of 4 people as they left, pulled out a handgun and shot 2 of them.
The suspect then entered the museum and spoke to people inside before being detained. Police named him as Elias Rodriguez from Chicago. He's reported to be an activist with left-wing groups.
Free Palestine!
Katie Kalischer recorded these moments on her phone.
He's like, oh, what kind of museum is this? So I told him it's a Jewish museum. And he asked me, do you think that that's why they did it? Like it referencing the gunshots that we had heard. He pulls out his keffiyeh and he says, I did it. I did it for Gaza. Free Palestine. And he's chanting this. And then suddenly the police come in and they arrest him.
Israel's ambassador to the U.S. spoke at a late-night news conference.
The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple who came to enjoy an evening in Washington's Cultural Center.
On social media, Donald Trump called the killings horrible and obviously anti-Semitic. In a statement, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he'd ordered security to be boosted at Israeli diplomatic missions and was joined by his foreign minister in linking the attack to recent international criticism of Israel's actions in Gaza.
There is a direct line connecting anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli incitement to this murder. This incitement is also done by leaders and officials of many countries and international organizations, especially from Europe. The words are the modern blood libels. These libels about genocide, crimes against humanity, and murdering babies paved the way exactly for such murders.
This Israeli government's egregious actions and rhetoric have continued.
Another Israeli minister directly accused the UK, France and Canada of emboldening terror with their joint statement criticising Israel this week, promising concrete action. Foreign Secretary David Lammy then announcing Britain was pulling out of trade talks with Israel. He didn't respond to the accusations from Israeli ministers, instead posting on X that he was horrified by the killings, adding, "We condemn this appalling anti-Semitic crime. Our thoughts are with the victims, their families and colleagues at this awful time."
Palestine will never die!
The suspect is not a student, but both US and Israeli officials are drawing a direct line between the attack and the long-running US campus protests on Gaza. That in turn will be rejected by those who draw a different line between criticism of Israel's actions and anti-Semitic incitement. These killings highlighting heightened risks to Jewish and Israeli institutions worldwide, the deepening political fractures emanating from the war in Gaza, but at the centre of it all, a young couple killed on a night out, and those who are now grieving for them. Last night our team spoke to DC Rabbi Levi Shem Tov.
This thing is, I think, going to shake the whole community. Right now, it's like every trauma. It's a shock. Never seen this before. 2 Jews shot dead in the street in Washington, D.C., just like that. But we'll have to process this. We'll have to come together as a community and be resilient, strong, and overcome the challenge.
And as a community, are you getting a lot of messages, a lot of calls from people talking about it?
My phone's blowing up as I'm talking to you. But, I'm sure we'll find a way to come together, have a good, quick conversation about what to do next.
And what do you think we'll do next?
Well, we'll have to talk with each other, then with city and federal officials, and map out what we do from here. This is a new stage, and it can't continue.
A new stage of what?
Violence against Jewish people. I'm one of the more identifiable Jews in the city, so I have to think about my own personal situation, but I'm not going to be cowered into fear in the capital of the United States. It's just too antithetical to who I am, not only as an American, but as a Jew.
And how will you support your community at some of this?
In every possible way. I'm going to think about that as soon as I get home. But I'm sure others in the community will offer me ways that we can be helpful, and that's what we're here for, to make sure that we strengthen the community in every possible way. Not just the Jewish community, the American community, the Washington community. This is a shock. For people to be shot dead just because of their religious or ethnic identity is just wholly unacceptable in any normal society. And I think we have to deal with that as a community, not just as the Jewish community, but as the Washington community generally.
And do you know anyone, have you heard of anyone that knows the couple? It's a young couple.
Yeah, people in the community know them. They were at some events that we had, and I heard they were about to get engaged. So as I said to some of the press before, they'll be together, but not in this world.